This season of Nerdpool is powered by WiSP, with music from RedCocoa. Check the description for more information. For our inaugural episode, who else but the man who inspired me to begin with this in the first place? He's a fan of all things Blizzard, co-host of the Blue Recluse and Talking WoW, creative mind behind the Crowded Tavern, an OG priest healer, member of the Dungeon Dojo, and my personal favorite Danish person. Could it be? Is it? Wow, it's Marty!
How many Danish people do you know?
Off the top of my head, I know of Mads Mikkelsen. He's Danish, right?
Let me rephrase. How many of these people how many Danish people do you know that you have personally interacted with?
Well, let's just say that you're my favorite by a long shot.
Fair. I'll take it.
Oh, but yeah, it's lovely to have you here. It's not been too long since we saw each other at LFG.
Yeah, that is correct, in London.
Yeah, that was a fun time. So I'm gonna dive into our first question. Now, a lot of people I've realized who are going to be on this first season of the show are big WoW players. So if I ask what's your favorite game of all time, chances are at least the majority of them are going to say WoW. I don't want that because we all know that. So what is your favorite game that didn't change your life, or that did change your life but isn't WoW?
Oh, that's a difficult question because I generally just love gaming. So there will probably, I can't pick to one specific game and being like, this is my favorite outside of WoW game, but there's definitely a few. And there's also a theme I realized. So the theme is something open world is something that really have a tendency to sit really well with me. And when you talk about open world, then Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, obviously, and Watch Dogs, the first two.
Ooh.
Yeah, the first two, not the Abomination. That was the last one. And The Division sits on that list too.
Very, very good picks. The Division kind of took me by surprise. I suppose. I've known previously that you're a massive fan of Assassin's Creed, but I take it you're also just, I guess, a big Ubisoft fan?
Of their games, yes. Not necessarily what happens behind closed doors, because
that's
we don't want
rabbit hole of
don't want to go there. Yeah.
So I have to ask them, because I noticed my personal favorite Ubisoft game didn't make it to that list, which is the Ghost Recon Wildlands Breakpoint games. Have you ever tried them?
No, I've never tried them. It's some of those games that's just been sitting there and been like, yeah, I want to try them out one day, and just never got around to it, because let's be honest, we live in a time where there's so many great games constantly, and you just can't get around to do everything. I mean, just look at my Steam library and my Steam wish list, so.
Speaking then of Steam wish lists and Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, are you excited for the upcoming Black Flag remaster, or resync, I guess they're calling it?
No, actually not. It's just because I played it. I played through the game. I've 100%ed it. I don't do a lot of replaying of games that I already have played through. It's very, very seldom, at least, that I do that. So no, it's not for me. But I love that it's out there, and that hopefully new people will get to experience it as well, because it's one of the, personally for me, probably not the best Assassin's Creed game, but it is definitely one of the best Assassin's Creed game. So.
Oh, I've got to ask now, what's the best one?
Oh, the thing is, I'm a sucker for the original ones. I just loved Ezio so much, and I love the Desmond storyline. So I wouldn't say it's like a specific one. I would just say that it's that trilogy that they did, or I don't even know if it was more games, because it was a blur. I played all of them. So, but the ones with Ezio and Desmond and Assassin's Creed Black Flag doesn't have either. It was a departure from that, and I was like, but Desmond, come on. Because I actually so I played Assassin's Creed differently than other people. I played through it to get to the present day stuff. That's what I thought was so interesting. And so when they sort of departed from that, I was like,
I remember playing them as a kid. I remember disliking a lot the Desmond stuff in the first game, And then it was kind of okay in Brotherhood and Revelations. I didn't really play 2 that much. But I remember really enjoying Desmond in Assassin's Creed 3. Did you like how they handled the ending in that?
I mean, they killed him.
So no.
They killed off the character. No, I think I was a little bit. I didn't want him to die. I wanted to see more of what happened back then. So when it just took a full departure from it, I was sort of, oh, okay. But the games themselves are still good. It's not like that. I can't play an Assassin's Creed without Desmond, because there is. The games themselves are really, really good, and they have open world, and they've just always spoken a lot to me. And so it was actually also kind of cool to see the newer ones actually starting to introduce some of that lore again, and actually have like a present day storyline that kept going through the new games, instead of just having a random office somewhere that I didn't really care about.
I think I mentioned this to you privately, but I really like The Office and Assassin's Creed 4. Yeah. I don't, to be fair, I can't even, because I replayed Rogue recently, which also has The Office, and it was boring as all hell. So I don't know what it was. Maybe Child Ryan was just on something. I don't know. But no, I do have a lot of nostalgia for the Ezio games as well. I think Brotherhood's probably got to be one of the best games I've ever played.
Brotherhood doesn't do much for me right now, because I don't really remember it so much. There was a few of them. Was that the French one? Brotherhood
was one of the originals. I'm surprised you don't, because that was Ezio in Rome, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Then what am I thinking of then?
Unity was the French one.
Yeah.
Syndicate, maybe?
Yeah, maybe those are the two. See, there we go. I'm old, Brian. I don't remember things.
I did not want this podcast to turn into a dementia diagnosis, so we're going to move on very quickly before it gets into scary territory.
I have more games, though, if we want to talk about more games, because this is just my open world bucket that we just dipped into.
Well, I was going to say, I know that you're, obviously, you're a big fan of the Spider-Man game. Not last we spoke. I think the first time we spoke at LFG last year, you were playing through the Spider-Man games, which obviously ties into the open world. But then, what games maybe outside of that open world territory do you enjoy?
I completely forgot about the Spider-Man games. Now that you're actually bringing them up, they didn't. Why did they not make my list? Because they're so good as well. But anyway, moving away from those type of games, I actually do like a good survival / base building games as well.
That is interesting. I did not have you pegged for. To be fair, I'm consistently surprised. I suppose it's on me for being prejudiced against WoW players that I think that the only games that they enjoy are WoW. But okay, now you're in my territory, because I absolutely love those games. So what's your go-to?
I don't feel like I have a specific go-to, but if I would have to say like my all-time favorite so far is Subnautica. It is so good, and open access just was last weekend, I think, for the sequel, like the proper sequel. I don't know what the in-between was, but I spent 30 hours last weekend just submerged, I guess.
To use the correct terminology, yes.
But no, other mentions would be Valheim and Enshrouded. That I'm really, really enjoying this far.
Like, I know Valheim happened. I know a lot of people play it. I don't know anything about that game whatsoever. I thought it was like a top-down dungeon game like Diablo or something.
No, are you thinking of Re-Rising, maybe?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, there. Never mind then. No, Valheim is Norse mythology inspired, so obviously I like that. Being from Scandinavia, I really, and Valheim is still in early access. It's still not officially out there yet either. But I think I recently saw that they've reached a state where they feel like the world is done. So, and I played it way back when it was right out in in early access. So I haven't gone back and checked it out since. So I might do that soon. Because apparently there's a lot of new zones to explore.
Yeah, that looks. I just looked up now. It looks nothing like I thought it was. I think I was thinking of Path of Exile, maybe.
Maybe.
So we can't talk about survival games and crafting games without mentioning Minecraft. Did you buy into the Minecraft craze? Do you still play Minecraft if you did?
I actually played Minecraft probably like 1 or 2 years ago, just for fun, just to dig into it again. But yeah, no, I played it back in the day. I have built huge castles, because obviously I was a WoW player as well. So you had to have your own castle, and played through the whole, quotation mark story that there was, kill the dragon, and then I haven't really looked into it yet, but I think it's amazing that so many people are still playing it to this day, because it has to be close to the same age as World of Warcraft, right? Because I feel like it's from 2011, and WoW was out for me in 2006, so 5-year difference. So in a long enough timeline, roughly around the same time.
yeah, they're about the same age now. You group them together, they'd be good friends.
Yeah, most definitely. But I also like simulation and building games, so something like Sims 4 I've played a lot, or Transport or Roller Coaster Tycoon, or the 2 Point games, stuff like that is something where those are dangerous games for me, where you build stuff, because all of a sudden the weekend is just gone.
Oh yeah,
so, just one more thing. I just need to build this one more thing.
I got way too invested in the sort of like, history would be the wrong word because it's like developing, but I got way too invested in my city and city skylines to the point where like it nearly jeopardized my uni degree, because I would stay up late to get my work finished, and then I'd take a little break, start working on San Francisco, I think I called it. And that little break turned into 6 a.m. realizing that I'd not done any uni work and it was due tomorrow.
Whoops.
Very dangerous game.
Yeah. City Skylines I've definitely spent a few hours in as well.
Well, I'd say I got more than what I wanted. Not in a bad way, but I definitely got more. I was sort of just like, yep, Assassin's Creed, maybe Spider-Man, that'll cover it. Turns out humans have depth.
Yeah.
What a crazy thing.
The podcast is over. That's it. That's the episode.
Oh no, that's wrong with my questions.
We managed one question.
I think we can squeeze in a few more.
All right.
And yeah, looping back to memories and to WoW. Mm-hmm. On the Recruiter Friend podcast, you said that your favorite memory in WoW was helping rebuild a guild towards the end of the Burning Crusade when it nearly fell apart. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that is an incredible memory for you, but was there ever another moment in WoW after that point, maybe before that point, but that made you just absolutely fall in love with it?
So you took away my big shining moment. So that's I don't know. I hate that game. Nothing happened. No, actually, I didn't. I completely forgot about that when I was sitting down looking through these questions. So my answer would actually be that I fell in love with the world right from the get-go. Because just the scale of the world, and again, the open world aspect of it, that you pick your own route through the game, but also the social aspect that was in the game back then. If you were unsure of something, you just asked in chat, and someone would usually answer, and then you fell in talk with them, and yeah. So I think that was the original point where I actually fell in love with World of Warcraft, was just the whole, the scale and the social aspect of it.
You've talked before on the previous podcast, specifically on Recruiter Friend, about how much you love music, that Metallica was a large part of your childhood. Mm-hmm. And even right now, although the lovely viewers or listeners can't see it, you are sitting in an electric cowboy chair as well. Many people that I know in the gaming community are seemingly drawn to rock and metal music as well. That like you'll struggle to find someone, like you say in the dojo or when we went to LFG, that isn't into Metallica or Electric Callboy or like maybe Sleep Token, I think is the big one now. What is it you see that brings those two things together, a love of gaming and a love of rock and metal?
That's a good question. I have wondered as well why a lot of the people and the communities that I seem to thrive in also likes roughly the same music, but I guess that's probably just how our world, the world that we grew up in, is that there is a lot of pop culture and if we have some of this very similar things we like, then why wouldn't they intersect as well? So it is really interesting that it seems like. So when I grew up, I was one of the few people in my class who liked heavy music. And I remember just back then thinking that, oh, it would be so amazing if, you know, it was a little bit more accepted, if more people would like it, because, you know, I feel a little bit, you know, it's my and my friend who likes it, and that's it. And these days, I'm like, everywhere I go, you know, I see a Sleep Token t-shirt, or people who like Metallica or other metal music. I'm just like, okay, I guess I got what I wished for.
On that note, speaking of music, I want to ask, because I don't very often get the opportunity to really delve deep with people from cultures that are separate from what I grew up, because I grew up in a very British and Irish household. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I had a lot of like U2 playing on like the car radio. Mm-hmm. So then with yourself, Denmark has a genuinely very rich creative catalog. You have incredible directors like I'm going to butcher his name now, Nicholas Refn, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I think he kickstarted Mads Mikkelsen's career as well with, I think it was a movie called Pusher.
Yes.
I want to say.
It's so interesting that you actually starting to mention these names, because one of the questions, I guess that's where you're heading right now, is what Danish media would you recommend? And on my list, I actually have Pusher, because it's the first time I ever thought, oh shit, Danes can actually do action movies, you know? Because, you know, we were very, I think, or at least I was very influenced by American movies and TV and stuff like that. So all of a sudden have like a Danish movie that is, this is amazing. It even had like an amazing soundtrack as well. Obviously leading a little bit more towards the heavier rock and metal side, you know. So So yeah, that I can so recommend Pusher if you haven't seen it. I actually don't know how dated it is, I will have to say, because it's not always that things you know, date well. But I remember it at least as a really, really good Danish take on action movies. But if I were to recommend another movie, something. And I guess it's a little bit hit or miss, because it is very Danish humor, action and humor, but it's called In China They Eat Dogs. So yeah, check that one out if you don't know what to watch tonight.
I mean, the title alone is definitely interesting. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to look into that one. If you had any music on that list, I would like a chance to guess at one, because there was a band you showed me years ago.
Okay.
Called Dizzy Miss Lizzy.
Yes.
Did I guess that correctly, or was that just
yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. But then on that note, what other bands, and there's definitely a Danish games industry, but I suppose that one's a bit more homogenized now.
Oh my God, dude. Danish game industry. Have you ever tried playing a small indie game called Hitman?
Oh shit, that's Danish, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a small franchise that nobody knows about, I think, called Hitman, where you play as a hitman that's bald. I think its name, is it Agent 47 or something like that? So yeah, there's definitely some Danish games out there that.
That's just called me out on not being cultured enough to know that IO Interactive is Danish. I feel genuinely bad about that. Oh my God.
They are, situated in Copenhagen. I tried to remember, there was a really, really good one as well, which I think was, what was it called again? It was like black and white, and I just remember you play a small boy and you walk up. It's like a platform, and you walk up like a huge spider leg at some point.
Oh, Limbo.
Yes, that is like that's Danish as well.
Really? Wow.
Yes, really, really good. I can 100% recommend that as a game as well.
I generally consider myself pretty knowledgeable on games companies. I've been caught red-handed here, not knowing that they were Danish. I love Hitman as well. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, there's this Danish toy company that I'm sure like only a handful of people have heard of. With I think there's like little plastic bricks.
Don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it.
We don't need to cover that.
But no, if you liked, did you listen to the Dizzy Miss Lizzy?
I listened to the song you sent me. Mm-hmm. I've not listened to their wider catalog, but okay. I will take any recommendations.
There is a different band as well, but they sort of like have two eras. It's called Kashmir. And they have like an era right in the beginning where they were like a little bit more hard rock, and they liked to have very like very, but they like to have like silly lyrics, amazing but silly lyrics. And then at some point they decided to now they want to be like a serious band, and then they completely switched up and became still some rock music, but a little bit more serious content when it comes to the lyrics and stuff. But I can recommend. I can also send specific songs if you like me to. But yeah, Kashmir, great Danish band as well.
Yeah, I can honestly, anything you send, I can put in the. I believe there are descriptions for podcasts these days that you can put links in.
There is, yeah.
So I can share it with the world as well. I just want to say as well, I doing my like research for this episode. I also realized the first band that I ever saw live was a Danish death metal band.
Oh,
called Based. Or Beast, but they spelled it like B-A-E-S-T.
Beast, yeah. Okay, yeah. They are actually considering it's death metal. I'm not a super death metal guy myself, but considering it's death metal, they are actually kind of known in Denmark as well, because there was like a documentary around them, and it had a focus on mental health, which was really interesting, because apparently some of those members had periods of their lives where they didn't really do that well mental health wise, and that actually gave them being part of a documentary actually gave them a boost in popularity, even among people who would never normally touch death metal. So
wow, that's genuinely I wasn't expecting anything, because I saw them at this tiny little concert in Manchester in 2019. They were supporting, I think, a band called Decapitated. I met them and everything after the show. They were really, really lovely people.
Yeah.
But wow, that's genuinely fascinating to hear.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with metal bands, because I've also, well, bands in general, is that people are just very, very nice usually, because they again, they're just doing an art form, and they just want to share their art form. And when I was younger, I worked at like I wouldn't call it like a venue. It's more like a youth club-ish sort of thing. Like we had our own building, and we could do events and stuff. And a lot of the time it was musical events. So I've gotten to meet a lot of different types of musicians, and generally people are usually just, very, very nice people to talk to, and just want to, show the world what they're doing.
That is almost it. There are a few questions that we didn't cover, and there's one that I do really want to ask, so we're going to end it with this one. So again, doing all the research for this and listening to both your own podcasts and your appearance on other podcasts, something that I found to constantly come up was the passing of time. You've been playing WoW for over 20 years. You first made the Blue Recluse with Tom over 12 years ago, I believe. Given just how much has happened in that time, what do you see for Marty in the next 20 years? And what are you hopeful for, and what are you excited for?
Oh my God. I don't know that answer, because I find it so hard to make a plan and be like, this is what I want to do in 10 years, because I find that the world keeps changing constantly. And also, I'm not diagnosed, but I have a strong feeling that I might be either ADHD, autistic, or a combination of both. So it's also sort of like how my brain works, is that it hatches onto something that I find very interesting right now, and then in 6 months I'm doing something completely different. At least with some things. And there are things that stick, because as you said, I played World of Warcraft for 20 years. I've done podcasts that have run for long times. So I really don't know, but I can tell you where I would love to be in 20 years, because I've refound like a passion that I had when I was younger, which is writing. So I would have loved to have, actually finished something where I think it's good enough to actually put it out into the world. Speaking of, being creative and stuff like that. And it's here where my potential or UDHD comes back in, because I have within the past 1.5 years created or come up with ideas for at least 3 different trilogies, many just single stories as well. And I'm really, really good at world building and creating everything around the story. Even just, figuring out, oh, this story is about this. We need to go, part 1 is about this, part 2 is about this, the ending is about this. And then, figure all that stuff around it, figure that stuff out. I'm so good at that. I'm really, really good at it. And then now sitting down and actually writing the story, that's where I struggle.
I'm really glad as well that you brought that up, because writing is one of the things that I did want to touch on. And I'm going to hopefully have you back here again in the future to talk about that more in depth, because I've read some of your work and it is very good and very fascinating as well.
And you only wrote like a short story. I have like a few, probably at least 3 vaults just filled with world building items and stuff for like specific worlds. I don't have a vault. The one that you have read, I don't have a vault for that, because that's just short stories that I have. But you should see, I have like a werewolf. I don't know if you're into werewolves, but I have like a werewolf world that I've been working on recently, and it's become quite big and fascinating so far.
I mean, I'm not opposed to werewolves.
It's been really interesting as well, because I have like I like to come up with my own takes on them instead of just being like, yep, this is a werewolf, everyone knows it. I like to come up with my own take on it, and my take is based a little bit in Norse. Like, so my take is based on something that is based off Norse mythology as well, because I really, really love Norse mythology. So obviously, if we have wolves, we need to have a character that is named Fenris, right? So there is that, but it's not like a regular. So obviously it has some of the traits from original werewolf things, but it also have a few things that's my own take on it. So mixing things a bit up, yeah.
No, I regret sticking now to the sort of the short form, but I don't want to risk it by going like for too long. But I definitely want to bring you back to delve into that more, because that is a genuinely fascinating side of you that I think less known.
We'll come back and do like a full creative deep dive into my brain.
I would genuinely love that. But for now, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on as my guinea pig. Before we wrap up, is there anywhere people can find you still? Is there anything you want to promote?
So I have very little social media because I don't use them anymore. But there is actually one place called myhuman.marty.dk. And what that is that it's a website, it's a blog, and it's maintained and written by my AI about me. So it's my AI who is writing blog posts about what I talk to my AI about every week. So that is probably the most updated thing where I am currently, and there's also links to other things like my social media and stuff over there. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, we'll put that in the description below so you can find all of the creative deep dives into Marty's mind from his AI before we approach it at a later date. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a genuine pleasure. We'll see you all next time.
See ya.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the pilot episode of The Nerd Hole. We have so many exciting guests lined up for this season, and I can't wait for you to hear what they have to say. Tune in every week for more.